currently involves a lot of what they call this talking about and documenting architecture. So I am the editor-in-chief of a design magazine called Canto.ph, where I deal with a lot of like what they call this conversations on design, architecture, photography, and heritage. And after work hours, I run Brutalist Filipinas with my team consisting of Carl Castro and Elvie Infante. So what we do in Brutalist Filipinas is raise awareness on our brutalist architectural heritage in the Philippines. So there. So this particular picture was taken with the Fujifilm. I think it was like a couple of 2 months ago when I led a photo walk of the PICC. So you'll be seeing more of this in the next few slides. All right. So as I mentioned a while ago, I wouldn't call myself a professional photographer. I'm so not. I would say I'm a hobbyist with an art director's eye, and this is something that I was able to hone. Natutunan ko siya over more than 10 years of experience in the publishing and design industry. And this is something that I got basically by tailing my photographers. So nung first few early days ko as a graphic designer and art director in publishing, I knew nothing about photography and I knew nothing about shooting architecture, right? So I guess one way I was able to what they call this like really sharpen my eye, because I think it's the most important thing when you want to pursue photography is to have the eye. It's not even the equipment, it's the eye and the story that you want to tell. So I got to sharpen it by what they call this naturally by art directing the photo shoot, but also by talking to the photographers that I have to work with and learning from them the basics of photography, and also watching how they would frame specific spaces a certain way. So there. So it goes without saying, I guess, that architecture shapes a lot how I see and shoot, to the point that parang pag nag-shoot ako ng tao, parang nag-shoot ako ng architecture. That's how I treat them. So yeah, that's not a very good thing. But anyways, that's I would have to say that my exposure to architecture and the study of architecture really shaped how I take my photos. There. So I guess my experience with photography comes in two facets. So I use photography for storytelling, and I use it for documenting, especially whenever I do work for Brutalist Filipinas and Modernist Pilipinas. So documenting is very important, in particular for Brutalist Filipinas. Hindi ko na mention ko na itong mga buildings na to, but this is my personal documentation of buildings that were being demolished in the metro. So I guess what I want to do today is to, talk a little bit about how I understand architecture photography to be and what it entails. So for me, architecture photography is an act of dialogue. It's not a static, what do you call this? It's not a static setup where you as a photographer takes a picture of a building. So the building actually talks to you, and it actually tells you things about how it wants you to perceive it, or how it wants you to understand it, or how it wants to be photographed or depicted. So that's why I regard architectural photography as an act of dialogue, and I think it's also a sensorial conversation, meaning all your senses are triggered whenever you do architectural photography. Because you have to walk around the building, you get to smell, you get to see, you get to hear. So all these things, even though you can't like smell or hear your photos, of course, or the spaces that you visit, but you take them all together in the scene that you shoot, you kind of get it still. Like here, for example, this is Park Royal Pickering in Singapore. It may be a static image, but I'm reminded of the rustling of the leaves when I was there, yung mga busina ng sasakyan, and then also yung mga, what we call this, conversations of people around me. So it's a sensorial conversation. So I want to introduce you guys to Gabriele Basilico. So he's an Italian photographer. He actually studied architecture, and then he decided after studying that he wants to be a photographer instead. So the reason why I want to introduce Gabriele Basilico is he considers himself a measurer of space. So yun ang tawag niya sa sarili, he doesn't call himself a photographer, he calls himself a measurer of space. So what does that mean? So I had this conversation with a respected Italian architectural photographer named Roberto Conte. So I asked him about, I guess like, yung usual slumbook questions. It's my favorite photographer, no? And it's an answer ni Roberto is si Gabriele Basilico. And and I wanna read this passage aloud because it really, when I heard of this, it really shaped also my sequence or my process when I write a photo. So number one, sabi ni Gabriele Basilico, once said that taking an architectural image is first of all about the mind. So you need to know first what is being seen, what the story is behind it, and how it relates to the existing urban fabric and so on. So then it is about the feet, because you need to walk to the space and physically explore it. Only after all that does, after all that does it become about the eye, deciding the moment when the photo is to be taken, which is the very last step. So I guess I find this like a really beautiful passage and like a TLDR of like, I guess the process of a lot of architectural photographers. So it really pays to take your time whenever you take pictures of buildings. I mean, I know the building is just standing there, it's not gonna move. Hindi siya katulad ng parang model that, whenever you do a little move here or there, nagbabago yung bounce of light, right? But architecture is in a way also like that. So it's also like a person that you need to converse with. So anyways, I'm gonna unpack more of this in the next few 100 plus slides. Don't worry, it's all photos. So these are just some of the lessons I learned across a decade of architectural photography. So I'll go through these 5 points one by one. Okay, medyo madilim, but this is actually the Merlion in Singapore in a very different vantage point. So this is from the Marina Bay Sands. So I had like a really long telephoto and I was able to capture this image. So, okay, first point. So, I think just like every creative or every designer, it pays to know the rules, and then that's the only point when you break them and you've known about them. So, the rules of architectural photography aid a factual, honest depiction of the design as built, but real life sometimes throws you into angles that may be conventionally correct but brings with life and beauty. Right, so these are just some of the rules that I follow personally and something that I learned during my days when I used to work for an architectural magazine. So yung first na, I think non-negotiable ko whenever I do layouts of an architectural story. So, lagi ko tine-check yung photos if the architectural lines are straight and undistorted. Kasi when an architect designs a building, right, it's supposed to be straight. Hindi dapat siya nakaganon or whatever. Kasi pag any what do you call this, the angle distorts the architecture. So as much as possible, we want to depict the architecture as the architect perceived it. That is why a lot of people are kind of annoying actually. That nagugulat sila ng image na nagbabago kasi nga sinistraighten ko lahat ng straight lines. So like the verticals are all straight, the horizontals are straight, and so on and so forth. So there. So next, keep to stable angles that showcase the design without distortion. So I mentioned a while ago that very important yung set of angles that you want to use to depict your architecture. Kasi nga, magbabago yung reading ng person who's looking at your image and beholding the architecture, right? So parang isipin nila pag kuwari, na-depict ko siya na nakaslant, na in person, it's also slanted, but in real life, it's straight. So when I first started dabbling in personal photography in 2016 and 2017, my angles were mostly like this. So frontal, naka-angle ng content, look up. So yung mga traditional, what they call this, like starter kit ng mga architectural photographers, very stable, safe angles. So one other important thing, and this was something that I learned when I started Brutalist Filipinas, is a building is more than its facade naturally. So it always pays to go around. So this building in particular in Makati, which is still around and is one of my favorites, rewards the person who is very curious and wants to go around talaga. So when you're in front, you don't know kasi the shape of the building if you just look at it on one side. So when I walked around behind the building at the other street, nagulat ako na nagme-mirror siya. So yung shape pala is parang asterisk from, what they call this, from a bird's eye view. And you wouldn't really get the sense of that unless you really go around and take pictures of it from all sides. In an architectural documentation perspective, like for Brutalist Filipinas, this is very important kasi we want to, as much as possible, immortalize as much of the building as possible in order to be able to save memory of what it looked like or of its design for further study. Okay, so it's also very important to include a sense of a reference for a sense of scale. So in architecture, so naturally it's the human. So I like this photograph that they took of the CCP. Like I think this was in 2014, if I'm not mistaken. And I actually didn't know that there was a person at the lower left corner. So when I saw the person, I was like, oh, that's fantastic. So you get a sense of how massive that cantilever is behind him, right? So itong picture nito sa Hong Kong, it's also a good way to like show the scale of the building when you see the person right at the bottom. And this photograph that I took in Lisbon, medyo mas normal yung scale niya, but it's a nice way to also emphasize yung rhythm and yung what they call this repeating patterns of this image. Okay, ito. Very important ito sa akin. Kasi as someone who used to work for an architecture magazine and now runs heritage architecture advocacy, it is always very important to include your context and stay true to reality. Sobrang ilang beses tayo nabibiktima sa mga TikToks or Reels na yung mga tinitingnan natin is hindi pala ganun yung ano nila in real life, right? So, I hate that sort of thing. So, as much as possible, I try to take pictures of the buildings that are my subjects, what they call this, showing its context or where it is. In order for the person who's looking at your picture to be able to appreciate yung relationship ng building dun sa location where it is, right? So, hindi ko tinitreat yung building as some sort of object, as a sort of object in a museum. I'm treating it as an object that is part of a much larger city. Okay, so I'm breaking the rules here and added an extra rule. So, yun nga, I mean, after all those rules, I mentioned a while ago that, you should know the rules and then you should break them. So I do a lot of like breaking the rules here. So for one, ang dilim na picture na to, di ba? But I really like how dramatic what they call this, the lighting was. I think this was at 6 or 5 p.m. in Singapore. And I thought this was like a POV of the Merlion that is, kasi di ba parang ang dami ng beses na picturean sa Merlion, di ba? So parang sabi ko, parang may iba naman, ida-darken ko si Merlion, pero yung scene yung ipapakita ko. So the image naman on the right is a close-up of lamps at the PICC. So actually, hindi siya dapat kadilim, ganyan kadilim. Pero since as a creative auto photographer, hindi ko na-figure out yung tamang setting. So I actually took a photo that is much darker than what I was trying to do. But the resulting image is actually not quite bad. Okay, ito isa pa itong mga surprises. So I took this photo 2 weeks ago in Saigon. So, open yourself to surprises. So biglang lumipad yung mga birds, diba? So sabi ko, okay, sakto, meron ko itong picturean. So, unfortunately, all I had with me at that time was my phone. So, I mean, I just took that shot. Lagi akong victim ng lens na nagpo-fog up kasi I do tend to go to, what they call this, to Europe often. So, this was taken, I think, in 2018. So nag-fog up yung lens ko kasi it was -5, 10 degrees, or I don't know. Pero maganda yung effect sa image, so I kept it. And yung last one naman is at the PICC, I wanted actually to take a picture of this scene without the person. Pero sobrang sakto yung dating ni Ate dun sa elevator, so this ended up being the photograph that I submitted to the PICC when they asked for it. Right, so these are just also recent shots that I took from the PICC a couple of weeks ago. So I just wanted to, I'm really bad at night photography, guys. So the mere fact that this actually came out, I was actually pretty proud of this photograph. And even prouder kasi merong bird na biglang lumipad din sa frame ko. And then the image on the right naman is actually a close-up shot of a really bad fountain shot that I did. So I was trying to look for a way to save it. So sabi ko, okay, I'm gonna break the rules. I'm gonna zoom in and then make it into like a really abstract image. So ito yung image ng fountain sa courtyard ng PICC, and then the squiggly lines are its reflection. Okay, next. So point number 2, narrative as stewardship. So architectural photography beyond storytelling is also reportage. It comes with the responsibility of telling the story of a place and space grounded in reality and honesty as much as possible. So ito yung point ko kanina na sure, take your glamour shots of architecture, but do not deny the reader or the viewer of your image of the fact that it belongs to a much larger context. So, very important for me yun. So, this was in 2023, whenever, what they call this, when this was just a couple of days after the Manila Central Post Office suffered like a really bad, like an accidental fire, right? So, the Manila Central Post Office is a very special place for me because I'm a stamp collector. Okay? So I love collecting stamps. I would often go to the Manila Central Post Office kasi may nagbebenta ng stamps doon on certain days. So when I heard that what they call this, you guys suffered that fire, after a couple of days, I went out with a couple of friends to document the building in its current state. So these are just some of the photographs that I took of this documentation that I did of the post office just after the fire. Right, so this one naman was from a photo walk I did a couple of weeks ago with in partnership with the Philippine International Convention Center. So ito naman, they wanted to, number one, to be able for me to take around a group of people who are not all photographers in order to be able to, what they call this, appreciate the architecture of the PICC. And secondly, what they also want me to show is that the PICC just recently finished like a massive renovation effort that they wanted to be depicted in photographs. So these are just some of the images that I was able to take. So for me, whenever I visit the PICC, and I visited hindi naman hundreds of times, but I visited often, I always want to make a play on scale and contrasts whenever I'm there. So actually, isa to sa mga angles na lagi kong inuulit. So I always wait for a person to stand right there and then I take a picture showing the rest of the building. Kasi I think that's what really astounds me about this building is it's both really heavy and really big but also light at the same time. Like, I mean, could you imagine like how heavy that thing is that's piled on top of that floor? But the architect was able to make it seem like it's floating. So, tinatry ko siyang i-surface dun sa what they call this, itong intent ng architect sa photography ko. Kasi yun yung gustong sabihin no, ni Leandro Locsin sa architecture niya, that he can reconcile what they call this architectural qualities opposing that are opposing, like for example, heavy and light, massive, what they call this, massive and human scale, and so on and so forth. So here's just another angle that I took. Whenever I'm in the PICC, I love taking pictures of the walls kasi it's all concrete, pero the concrete is treated in so many different ways. So, ang say na picturean kasi the shadows really sit on these concrete surfaces differently at different times of the day. So, special tong tour na to kasi you also have access to the plenary hall without any people in them. So, parang if you want to fulfill your graduation dreams, diba? I mean, there you go. Okay, yan yung pala si Miss B. Right, so we also wanted me to depict the lobby kasi sobrang laki ng pinagbago ng lobby after the renovation. Because the PICC is 50 years old this year, actually yung ilaw for the past few years, medyo greenish na siya because of age. So after the renovation, bumalik na yung warm tones and this was something that I really enjoyed taking when I was in the lobby kasi sobrang, it's a, I don't know how to describe it, but if you're there, it's like a really, you just really feel welcome when you're in this particular space in the PICC. So as I mentioned a while ago, I like playing with scale and contrasts. So there was a lot of like opportunities for me to do that during that photo walk. So yan, so hindi ko yan pinotoshop guys, nangyari talaga yung ganyang phenomenon, nag-align yung shadows sa what they call this building and to the ground. I just wish hindi ko nasunog yung center, but anyways. Yeah, so I like this image because I'm not exaggerating anything. I distorted it, but at the same time, you get the sense of, mentioned mo a while ago, being both heavy and light at the same time. Like, it really astounds me whenever I see people below and I see that giant thing up there. Parang what they call this, I guess it's one of the things that really draw me into photographing and documenting architecture because you get to witness, very spatial moments like this. here's another angle. And yun nga, this is the same one that I showed a while ago. And if you wait long enough, ang maganda kasi sa concrete as a material because it's very receptive to colors. So it really reflects the color of the sky at certain times of day. So I think this was around 6 p.m. So naging orange na siya. And there you go. I like this because it looks like an abstract photo, but it's actually the silhouette of the PICC. Okay, so another case study of being true to context and reality. So this was the mills in Hong Kong that they photographed. I think I was there in March. So this is actually an old textile factory that they converted into a creative hub. Okay, so when I visited, I wanted to depict yung contrasts of yung old structure and yung new addition. So as much as possible, I didn't really play around with my angles because I wanted to really capture the place as is without me adding any color to how it looks. So I like this one angle in particular because the benches are actually made of old parts of the building. They repurposed it to become what they call these benches for visitors to visit. So just as an aside, this is one of the few malls in Hong Kong that allows pets inside. So medyo ang daming aso when I was there. So you can see the portions of the buildings that are portions of the building that are still what they call this its original skin. Like yung concrete walls there was kept as is, and then they added like glass what they call this glazing in order to make it a little modern and more porous. Kasi yung building before was all covered in concrete. So, okay, so nagulat ako, nandun pala yung Fuji House of Photography inside the mills. Yeah, so of course I took photos. Okay, so ito. So, I just want to talk a little bit about the concept of Instagrammable architecture because I absolutely think it needs to stop. What I mean about Instagrammable architecture is in the early days of Instagram, sobrang influential ng Instagram in how people perceive architecture to the point that the architects are actually shaping the way they design their buildings for Instagram. So I work for an architecture firm. So there were a couple of in an old firm that I used to work with before. Medyo nag-cringe ako whenever I hear some of my colleagues would say, parang, you have to design a corner that's Instagrammable. That's terrible. That should never be the impetus that you use whenever you design architecture, because architecture should serve first and foremost its function, right? So yung beauty niya should come from being a building that works, but also being a building that inspires. So it shouldn't be ang Instagrammable kasi parang surface level, parang siyang snacks. After you're done eating your snacks, you're full, but then it's only for that particular moment. So okay, so this talk that I did in Hong Kong, and this was also in March, I think, the CD3 King Lam Street, if you guys want to visit. So this was actually the project of a friend, and I wanted to see it in person. Kasi all the photographs that I've seen of this place is just showing the stairs. So gusto ko malaman, ano yung tinitignan ng tao sa kabilang side? So when I was there in March, I visited the building. It's actually an office building. And they wanted to merge yung ground plane with the office space, with green spaces interspersed, and parang community space in the center. So ito yung itsura niya. And then of course I was waiting for like people to sit on the steps. What they call us to see how kung the architects designed it to be beyond Instagrammable architecture, pagkatapos mag-picture na naalis ka na. So, I'm actually pleasantly surprised to see that people are actually using the steps to like rest, to text. Kasi like yung mga people dyan, I was there kasi for an hour, and nandun lang sila. So they're staying put, they're really making the most of this particular space. And may mga nagpo-photoshoot na minsan, yung iba dyan, yung iba naman dito, they use the steps as a sort of like meeting place. So it was, I guess it's a good case of being both Instagrammable and usable at the same time. And my role as a photographer is to be able to communicate this to, both people who wants to visit the space, right, and to other architects. So ito yung tinitignan ng mga tao. Actually, it's not a bad-looking view, but you're looking at the entry to the parking lot of parking space of the building up front. But I think the architect designed this really well kasi ang ganda ng reflection dun sa material that they used on the roof really bounces back the light and it really makes it all very scenic and dramatic. Alright, so point number 3. Okay. So narratives and dialogue. So architectural photography requires time, patience, and understanding of the subject. So only when you have formed a dialogue with the space can magic happen. I think that's what I think. I mean, that's what I think. As I mentioned a while ago, yung share ko na sinabi ni Gabriela Basilico. So you've seen na parang in order for you to really understand how a space is designed or is designed to also connect with its users, you really need to take time to go around and really talk to the building. So this is what I did when I was, sorry, I'm from Hong Kong, but Hong Kong is my favorite travel destination. Like if you're a budding architectural photography, this is the perfect place to start. It has everything that you need to like experiment. Matagal ko na nakikita itong si Harbor City sa Instagram. At saka paboritong shot ng mga tao yung nag-look up sila dun sa gold building, tapos may dadala na plane, diba? So when I went to this complex in Hong Kong, I decided I wanted to do like a set that shows people using the space. So it's actually a mall. These are a set of images that I took of the complex, and yun nga, doon ko lang na-realize na ang dami pala niyang spatial or architectural moments. For me, like a good building has multiple architectural moments, meaning meron siyang different corners with different things going on or different scenes. Hindi lang siya parang yun nga, yung Instagrammable corner na parang mas makuhanan mo na yung corner niya, tapos ka na, wala ka na makita maganda. So ito yung si Harbor City Complex at a couple. So I really found this like, I think this is a control room of some sort, really interesting and very sculptural. And ang saya laruin ng glass. Ang saya laruin ng glass because it has like a gold tint that really plays around with the colors. So syempre gumawa rin ako ng mga look-up just in case, parang may safety angle or whatever. But it really was a joy to photograph the building kasi nga sobrang, in real life, sobrang overwhelming yung gold hue ng building. It's like being, parang kang inuulan na ng gold when you're in there. And what do you call this? So, okay, I have to admit, I'm really bad with colors. So that's the reason why I shoot with creative auto. Kasi parang, I want the camera to do the thinking for me. Pero, so nga, I mean, sa Tutlog, so when I was using the Fuji Film X-T33, medyo hindi ko na masyado, what do you call this? I don't have to worry about the colors not registering on, realistically in my photographs, as you can see in these examples. Okay, so this is not in Japan, this is actually in Laguna. This is one of my favorite architectural subjects that I've ever photographed. So this was done by a good friend, George Yulo. So I was actually doing an ocular for an event for Canto.ph. And of course, as I always do with my oculars, nagsingit na rin ako ng photo shoot. So this complex is not massive, but this is a building that you need to go around and really take the time to know. Kasi si architect George Yulo really crams in a lot of detail in his architecture. As in sobrang daming detail na parang, I first visited this building in 2015, and nung bumalik ako ng 2025, ang dami ko palang na-realize, ang dami ko hindi ko nakuha. So, these are just some of the shots that I took of the building. I really like how the roof is both really heavy looking but light at the same time. You see that it's light because it's just being supported by that toothpick thin pillar. Pero the roof looks really massive and heavy. And the roof is actually not wood. It's not wood, it's metal. It's thin slivers of metal that are sobrang naka-align. Kaya ang tagal niya natapos. Right. So these are just some of the images that I took. Ang saya maglaro. As a photographer, this is heaven for me kasi ang dami mong pwedeng gawing what you call this laro in terms of like angles. But at the same time, you're not distorting the architecture. That's how it looks like in real life. Ang saya laruin ng reflections with the glass and yung lines of the building itself. It's almost as if the camera is your what you call this is the language that you share with the architecture. Okay, so itong si Hacienda Community Center is actually a clubhouse. Pero it doesn't look like one, right? It looks like a temple in Japan or something. So that's why I really enjoyed taking pictures of this particular building because but there's a lot of stories and a lot of characters that it has for one space. Yun. So yung stairs, di ba, pwede namang normal na stairs, pero ginawa nilang ganyan. Right, sorry yung sobrang dami. Nahirapan ako mamili ng images to show. But yeah, I mean, if you have the access, by all means, go. Or baka pwede tayo dalhin yung Fuji dito so we can do a shoot or whatever. So yeah, nasaya din yung laruin kasi different times of day, ang daming pwedeng shadow play na i-depict dito sa architecture na to. Okay, so this is done by the same architect. Sorry, this is not done, I didn't take this using Fuji. I took these photos using an LG G4 smartphone from 2017. So these images, actually ocular images ko to. What I do kasi whenever I do oculars for the magazine that I work for is inuunahan ko na yung photographer, pinapakita ko na yung mga shinoot ko, and I will ask the photographer to take like these are my non-negotiable angles. You should have this in the story. So as luck would have it, usually kasi pag nag-ocular kami ng buildings, just a few hours. So we got to stay in this house for an entire day. So we got to sleep here, and because of that, I really made the most of the opportunity that granted me to take photos of the house in different types of day. So ang ganda ng bahay kasi parang siyang sundial. You can tell the time by seeing how the shadows fall in different corners of the house. So you know this was shot by a phone kasi yung proportion is mahaba, right? So napaka photogenic ng bahay na to. This is in Batangas, if I'm not mistaken. So the architecture has a lot of spatial moments, like okay, medyo weird yung projection, pero I really love how the architecture frames the tree in the center, and how the shadow just really makes everything so dramatic. So naalala ko dito sa lighting na to si Ansel Adams, one of my like photography idols. So not that I'm saying it looks like what he shoots, but I'm just saying na parang yung juxtaposition of nature and architecture in the image is really very scenic. And I think it would be very hard to take bad photographs in this place. So guys, maraming magandang architecture sa Pilipinas. Yun na naman gusto kong sabihin. So, okay, number 4. So, making the most of mistakes and surprises. So, like any other photography genre, architectural photography is often at the mercy of many variables. So, they can break your images or in some cases result in beautiful accidents. Okay, so, medyo weird kasi yung photography journey ko. As I started with a mirrorless cam in 2016. And yun nga, I started as a creative auto person. So parang naisip ko nung 2023, 2024, nung medyo, what they call this, like medyo nag-iisip na yung pandemic restrictions. I want to study the basics of photography and take on film. Okay, so like a lot of other people. So, what they call this, I quickly realized when I got my first 4 film cameras, because I got really excited. So I tried to buy one rangefinder, one twin reflex camera. Parang gusto ko lang i-try yung different types of film cameras and see how, tapos alin yung mas makaka-vibes ko. So I quickly found out that it's very hard. And that, what they call this, yun nga, doon ko na-realize na parang malaki yung opportunity for me to like really learn about photography when I start for film. Kasi you really need to know the basics. So this is a film accident that I got from a film roll from my rangefinder camera. And it's a beautiful accident. Kasi sabi ko, okay, dami ko pwedeng gawin dito. It can be the background of a layout or whatever. So I kept it. Okay, so I did not mean for it to be like this. Hindi kaya sinadya. Ganyan lang yung kinalabasan. Kumiwala yung red dun sa rest of the colors. Ito, this is obviously a failure, but ang ganda ng kulay, so I kept it also. This is I know this is a Fuji top, but I used an Olympus pen EE for this one. So it's from the 1960s. I mean, for a camera that's like nearly 70 years old, this is not bad. Okay, so this is pretty bad. This is actually shot in 2023. Pero mukha siyang archival picture kasi nga sobrang fail. This is actually an expired film. Pero, I kept it because I think, I'm a person who, whenever I make mistakes, I like to delete the mistake because I don't want to see it. But there are some mistakes kasi na parang you feel in the future, it won't be a mistake anymore. Or there will be an opportunity for you kasi to create something beautiful out of it, right? Or maybe it doesn't resonate with you, but it does with someone else. So yun, buti na hindi ko ito dinelete. So these are my misadventures with my DLR. I think I have a Ryko Flex for this one. meron akong ginawang mali. Basta there's something wrong. It's not supposed to come out like this. You're not supposed to see the thing behind the camera. I mean the image. But this is I think I shot this in San Sebastian Basilica. So medyo tinitimpla kayong ilaw kasi sobrang dilim. Pero I think maybe mali ba? Obviously mali kasi kita mo yung numbers sa likod. Okay, this is also really bad, pero I think this was in Singapore, pero wala. Maganda yung, I just find it, it's like nice abstract image that I feel I can still use in the future. Okay, a badly exposed image of the Quiapo Church. Okay, so I mentioned a while ago about mistakes, pero isip ko rin na parang I want to open myself up to what they call this photography that's also filled with so many variables, basically. So I went out of my comfort zone and did the Quiapo walk with two friends. So basically, naglakad na kami around Quiapo and Escolta the whole day with our cameras. So these are just some of the photographs that I took. So I wouldn't say this is architectural photography. This probably malapit na to sa street. So these are just some of the things that I took during that session. Sorry, medyo nasusunog siya dun sa screen. It looks okay in mine. But these are just some of the buildings that I saw. So that building in the center is actually one of my favorites in Quiapo because it's one of those really interesting brutalist buildings that if you don't look for it, you won't find. So yan, so madalas ako nagpipicture habang tumatawid ng daan or nasa angkas. And then I like this picture because it's a very quintessentially Filipino picture of Quiapo where you have the jeep, you have the erstwhile Manila Royal Hotel that's now an SM, you have Quiapo Church, and you have the very first skyscraper in the Philippines, which is the Picasso building over there on the left. Okay, so these are just some of the shots that I took in Hong Kong. So ito naman, as I mentioned a while ago, I like to open myself up to more surprises or yung mga parang that's why whenever I walk around, the camera is always in a lace around my neck kasi you never know what you're gonna encounter. So like in Hong Kong, as I mentioned a while ago, is the perfect place to like take pictures if you're a starting architectural photographer kasi you will have opportunities like this na biglang may dumaan na multicolored bus in front of a building that's already very colorful. Or ito na parang may babaeng naka-red pants in front of a fire station. Okay, so number 5, okay, ito na yung last promise guys. So photographic absence. So, as I mentioned in the previous slides, we've been talking a lot about space as a subject, but the absence of a subject and simply capturing the lush manifestations of light, shadow, atmosphere, and texture can also lead to compelling imagery. So, a lot of the images that I regard as my favorite actually does not have a subject. So, I would share that I'm a FOMO photographer. I would take hundreds of pictures of the same darn thing, and then just to make sure na I have every conceivable angle. So yung photo ko actually is nabubuo siya when I'm already at home and I'm trying to look for the images that kung ano yung mga pwedeng pictures or images that I get. So most of the time, the ones that I don't intend to shoot are the ones that I find myself gravitating to. So this one was taken 4 weeks ago in Bangkok. I wanted to photograph the building and this lady just walked right in front of me. So I like to play with the absence of color in my photographs because I really love black and white photography. So it's no surprise na sa Fujifilm X-T30 ko laging across yung nakadun sa film dial ko, hindi ko na siya minumove. What they call this, absence of light and absence of people in a very crowded museum is a nice thing to photograph. So ito rin, absence of color. I really like to play around with what they call this, especially in architecture. Sobrang ganda maglaro in terms of like reflections and contrasts and textures. So this was taken 2 weeks ago in Vietnam. Ito naman, favorite ko to. So if you want to look for the most photogenic flyovers in the world, they're all in Bangkok. So sobrang ganda ng mga flyovers and sometimes I would take hours just looking at the flyovers. I don't even go anywhere in particular. I just like to see how the light changes at different types of day whenever I'm there and I see these flyovers. So I think this is also in Bangkok. So I didn't really have a subject in particular, but I really wanted to capture the scene because it had a lot of like things going on. There's a lot of reflection, there's a lot of texture, and there's a plethora of objects and components in this image na if colored siya, madugulo siya tignan. Pero if it's black and white, I would say it's a compelling image to look at. Okay, so these are just some of the shots that I took at DIP. So a lot of like, absence of activity. So you just have that one person there in the background. Ano naman yan, guys? Yun nga, absence of people, absence of color. And I like how this image that I took in Taichung in 2024 is very ambiguous about the architecture. Parang you don't know when nature starts and when architecture begins. Okay, this one that I took in Milan in 2024 din naman also kind of blurs. Parang mukha siyang collage and image at the same time. But yun nga, wala akong ginawang anything dyan. That's really how it looks like in real life. Okay, so kung naumay na kayo sa Hong Kong, so my next favorite destination to take pictures of architecture is Lisbon in Portugal. If you guys can go, you should definitely go. The lighting there is pang stock photography. I didn't need to do any color grading, the crazy color grading for this one. It really looks like this. So ang ganda nitong image ito kasi because I wasn't meaning to capture the scene. Like that person over there wasn't supposed to be there. Pero nung dumaan siya, I think that really made the photograph, I guess, sing. Without the person, it would be like a normal photograph. But because they had the sense of scale and they had what they call this, a human to break that composition, parang nagkaroon bigla ng story yung image. Na parang saan kaya siya pupunta? Ba't siya biglang, pwede naman siya dumaan sa likod, ba't siya dumaan sa harap? So this is on the same building, but this is the rooftop. Okay, so I guess ito yung favorite angle sa mga photographers doon. Kasi the skies in Lisbon when I was there, it's so blue. Naisip ko na ang ganda ng contrast ng gray roofing and the blue sky and yung bridge in the background. So, sobrang sakto na may naglalakad din na tao when I was there. So, you just really need to be prepared for these surprise moments, and then you have to pray to God that you have your camera with you when these moments happen. So, another one of my favorites, ito yung wallpaper ko sa computer ko na kabila. So, two people, and then you have the same building that I showed a while ago, and sobrang konti na nangyayari. So, there's an absence of activity in this image, but at the same time, there is so many possible stories that you can derive from this very simple image of two people who do not know each other and are just walking and sitting in the background. Okay, so these are also from Lisbon. So meron silang Brutalist train station. And needless to say, I was there for 3 hours. Medyo tinitingnan ako ng guardia kasi hindi ako maalis. Pero ang ganda na kasi nung bagsak ng ilaw dun sa concrete pillars nung train station. And what they call this, yun nga, parang I wasn't really after a particular moment. I just wanted to be there. So merong absence of subject. I just wanted to be there. And then, pag nakita ko yung moment, saka ko siya pipicturean. Ito rin, so this is an accident. So I was in this is one of my favorite buildings in Lisbon. This is the Portuguese Pavilion. So concrete yan, yung roof is, it's a really thin concrete roof that like, what they call this, undulates like this. So in this image, medyo may konting illusion siya kasi kin-drop ko siya this way. This is actually a much, when I shot it was much further off. So you see the end of the roof. But when I cropped it this way, it looked like a giant pillow is suspended on the top of the heads of these two people. So mas nagkaroon ng interest and an air of whimsy dito sa image na to. Okay, so I guess you guys know this building. This is the Dim Sum building in by Heatherwick in Singapore. So karamihan ng photograph kasi is maliwanag, di ba? So try ko naman ng madilim. Right, so okay, so this was I think shot in Milan. This particular building is not accessible to the public. So ginamitan ko na ito ng konting design journalist, whatever, para makapasok. Pero this is a particular building that I really enjoyed shooting because ang dami niyang walls na colored yellow and colored red, parang primary colors. And meron din siya mga brutalist sections na maganda gawa ng images that show contrast. So this is also in Milan. So this building is crazy. It's just sorry, medyo putol siya, pero mahaba pa yung image na yan. So, this building is actually a school for business graduates. So, what they call this, ang ganda kasi nung mukha siyang collage na nilapat sa street ng Milan. And this is what I was talking about a while ago, about showing your context. So, hindi ako fan ng hero shots na hindi pinapakita yung ano yung mga cars or yung kung may poster or whatever. Dati before doon sa magazine drop ko, tinatanggal ko yan yung mga poste, yung mga kable ng kuryente. Pero ngayon parang, as you mature and you start to understand your priorities as a photographer, you tend to embrace the, I wouldn't call it the ugly. It's the reality, di ba? That's how it looks like in real life. Okay, so yung very simple scene in Hong Kong, what they call this, absence of activity in a really busy train station in London. Okay, favorite ko to. Favorite ko to kasi hindi ko siya sinadya i-shoot. This is actually from this was an escalator that I was climbing to go to the overpass. Tapos nagpo-photo ako, accidentally ko na-click yung camera ko. Tapos nung nandun ako sa taas, nakita ko yung shots. Ako, shit, ang ganda nito. So, ang ganda ng pagkaka-frame kasi yung sobrang sakto yung curve ng building and yung aperture nung overpass na parang nagmukha siyang medyo abstract image. So this one is a train and MRT station in Singapore as well. And as I mentioned a while ago, I'm really uncomfortable taking pictures of dark images. For some weird reason, I really find it hard timplahin yung balance of sharpness and yung clarity of the shadow. I sure wish I had my Fuji at that time, but this was in 2020, so I had a different camera then. But I think this was the bad image. Okay, so other images that show absence of activity and parang very basic activities of a human being. Like itong si ate na nagpipicture lang siya nung jewel. Ang ganda ng bagsak ng ilaw doon sa hat niya. So actually yun yung naging subject of more than the fountain. And then that guy over there who was smoking, that same building that I showed a while ago, and that lone figure at the far end of this convention center that I shot. So one other thing that I like doing is I like lots of yung parang architectural equivalent of white space. So to balance this image na sobrang dami nangyayari, sinama ko doon sa frame ko yung walang nangyayari na image ng wall. And for some strange reason, nag-balance out yung image this way when I took it. Alright, so I'm coming to the end of my my talk. So to be honest, so I got my Fujifilm X-A30. I've had it for a couple of months, and I just want to talk briefly about my experience using it. So as you can see here, this was what I brought with me when I went to Hong Kong a couple of months ago. So I would say it's a dependable creative companion, and I say dependable kasi nga, as I mentioned a while ago, I'm a creative auto type of person. I'm very impatient and I like reading manuals. When I bought my camera, tinapos ko na yung box, yung manual, and then I just started taking pictures. And so with the Fuji, it was much easier to do something like this. Parang andali ko siya agad nagamit, and I was able to really leverage all the features that it had to empower a hobby photographer such as myself. And what they call this, but I say this because it enables me to capture imagery when there is, for example, absence of light. So this was an image that I took using the Acros filter in Fuji, and then I was actually trying to make sure that the rest of the circle can be seen, but they couldn't. Pero na-realize ko na maganda rin pala yung kinalabasan ng very high contrast image na to, and seeing all those people na nakasilhouette sa baba. So parang it enables me to make the most of absence, but also of abundance. So this is a museum that I photographed in Saigon 3 weeks ago. Sobrang dami nangyayari sa image, but at the same time, sobrang pleasing nung reproduction of colors na parang ang dami nangyayari pero hindi siya magulo tignan. Okay, so as I mentioned a while ago, I'm a FOMO photographer. This image was something that I got from the 200 different options that I had of this single scene. So ang dami kong kuhang parang press na ako ng press. And then ito yung pinili ko na parang favorite ko na variant from all those shots. So the Fuji film X-A30 enables me during moments of, whenever my FOMO site attacks, or during those quiet moments, medyo chill naman yung pinipicturan ko, wala akong kailangang habulin. So it works both ways. So I would also say that the camera empowers me kasi it already knows, I guess my best traits as a hobby photographer. I think naman I have the eye. I think naman I have the flair for storytelling, and I think medyo nagagamay ko na yung handle ng colors. So the Fuji really empowered that side of me, enhanced what I already know, but it also challenges me. So as I mentioned a while ago, I suck at night photography and also interior photography. Medyo ginaano ko pa yung timpla ng ilaw in terms of if the image is poorly lit. So this one was a museum shot that I took in Saigon, and surprisingly, tama naman yung mga pagpihit-pihit ko dun sa dials nung and sometimes you just like, you really wouldn't know if it works or not if if you don't take the shot and just fiddle around with the dials. So these are just some of the parting shots that I will show you guys as I'm done. So there you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Patrick Kasingsing. Maraming salamat po. And we're now opening the floor for question and answer.
Kwento po, paano po shoot yung Kabayaman sa attitude po? Sa loob o labas sa Mulison, Museo?
Sorry. Could you kindly repeat the question, please? Sorry.
Paano na shoot sa Kabaya sa attic tour? Sa loob o labas sa Museos?
Sorry, can I read your question?
Museos.
Should I read museum inside or outside?
Opo.
I think the answer is both. What do you call this? I think shooting, for example, you're talking about museums, right? Kasi as I mentioned a while ago, for example, when I visit an architectural subject such as a museum, as much as possible, I make the most of my experience with that space. So, pin-photograph ko na yung loob and yung labas, and to the best of my abilities, in both what do you call this, parang lahat na pwede mong i-shoot within that space of time, go for it already, di ba? So, also, I think it's good kasi, for example, you mahuhone yung angle mo of daylight, yung pagtitipla ng settings for daylight, and sa loob ng museum, which is often dark. So, you get to be both challenged sa interior and exterior, what they call this, like, scenes in a museum.
Okay,
I'm not sure if I answered your question, but thank you.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Thank you. Questions po? Kindly raise your hand. Alright.
More questions, guys. Meron ako mag-Tagalog.
Hi sir, question lang. Since nasa landscape, street style yung shooting ninyo, pero ano yung best time for you? Preferred time mo since siyempre yung lighting ng mga facade ng building, may certain time lang yan. Kung sa morning or sa afternoon. So,
Okay, that's a bit hard to answer kasi iba-iba yung lighting, iba yung bagsak like in every other place. Pero actually ito yung, I'll just share a short story. So when I worked for an architecture magazine and we did ocular, so oftentimes, kung ano yung bigay sa amin na time slot ng architect to shoot the building, we have to work with that. So sometimes it's not the best time to shoot the building, or sometimes it's the worst time to shoot the building, but we have to find a way to like make it work, right? So, but yun nga, if I had the chance to like, if I would have the chance to like figure that golden hour, what do you call it, time slot, yun nga, I would go to the building I would visit the building as early as possible and then stay there till like gabi para lang ma-figure out kung ano yung parang optimum time where the light really flatters the architecture. Kasi I think there will probably be 2 or 3 of those times within a certain day. So for example, okay, one of my favorite subjects kasi is Makati. What they call this, I would often just aimlessly walk around in the weekend just taking pictures of Makati, be it architecturally or like street-wise, right? So, for example, in sa Perea Street, I would say that's the most photogenic street in Legazpi Village. I would often go there at 3 p.m. or 2 p.m. kasi what they call this, yun yung parang bagsak na ilaw is parang how do I describe it? Everything is both shadowy and golden at the same time. And I think it was like it's a fantastic scene to depict in a photograph. And then, yun nga, you both have a balance of both architecture and street in one scenario. So there, I'm not sure if I answered your question, but yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Question po. Kindly raise your hand. Anyone? Ayan.
Hi Patrick.
Hello.
What lens do you usually use or attach to your T33 camera?
Okay, so ito na lumalabas ang hobbyist side ko. So I don't know the numbers and whatever, but what I can tell you is yung kit ko always has a, what they call this, a wide lens. I always need to have at least 10-22 or 8-24. Basta kailangan may wide para pasok lahat ng, like for example, for really big buildings, as much as possible, ayoko may naka-crop sa gilid. And then I also have a telephoto lens, especially whenever I need to shoot like a tall building. So I will actually shoot it ng malayo. You should never shoot tall buildings like in front of it, because of course you won't get like an accurate image of the building, right? So to have both something wide and something that can really zoom in is a good parang feeling ko nga enough na yun for to like having those two lenses if you're not very particular na parang having those two lenses with you all the time and you want to take photographs of architecture, you're set.
Alright, thank you so much. Next.
Yes, good evening po.
Evening.
So this more of the, there's a dialogue kasi, especially with the photography community. No? When it comes to architecture, there are areas na, it becomes such a big issue na may permit ka ba or what? Bawal picturean yung building dito, So what are the recommendations probably or tips that you could give to those who want to start photography na hindi ma-spoil yung entry nila na pinagbabawalan sila ng guide or yung mga ganun, if you have any?
Oh my God, that's a hard question to answer kasi malalaman yung secret ko. Well, I don't want to be the person to like champion like patagong photography or guerrilla whatever. Diba? Pero if you can and you have the connection, or so you know the process, go for a permit as much as possible. I would advise that. Ilang beses din ako nahuli and I really don't want, I mean, it didn't kill the experience for me, but at the same time, it saddens me kasi sa ibang bansa, wala kasi tayo sa Pilipinas na freedom of panorama na build. So it's much harder for us to shoot buildings that we can already see. As opposed to when you're in another country, meron kasi silang rule na if you can see the building as a public, in a public space, you can photograph it. You can even, like sell pictures of it or whatever. So marami pa talagang ways to improve in terms of like, I would say, what do you call this, like access ng photography when it comes to like architecture yung subject mo. No? So, okay, so for example, ito na lang. Something that you can definitely use. Like, for Makati, I don't think they're very strict anymore when it comes to photography. They used to be. Ilang beses na ako nahuli ng masaya at nagkabulan. So, but they're more, just bring your camera with you and don't bring a tripod. Okay? Once you see the tripod, magtago ka na. Okay? Or yun na nga, parang it's either you have your camera with you na maliit na without the tripod, or you have your phone with you, or parang like a pocketable camera that you have with you. What do you call this? And yun nga, pag kumali na huli ka, just tell them what you're doing. Usually kasi minsan parang they just, in that split second that they see you, they always automatically assume that it's a professional shoot, diba? You just need to tell them that it's not. It's like just for your whatever, your feed or ano. So yun, very practical tips. So kung gusto niyo talaga tanongin yung isang E3O, hindi ko kayo masasagot doon. So yung sa E3O Makati, so just use your phone so hindi kayo get in trouble.
Alright, last question po.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Jay from Cavite, photographer.
Thanks
Nakita
for
ko lang
coming all
kanina,
the way from Cavite.
yeah, nakita ko lang kanina yung doon sa, iniisip ko kasi, what is the best time for doon sa mga shoot mo na is architecture and photography? Night or tanghali or that's it? Para makuha mo yung the best shot.
I would never get tired of reiterating if you have the luxury of time, I would suggest, like for example, let me just show something. Okay, ito. This is ano ba to? The Henderson by Zaha did in Hong Kong. So I wanted to take a photograph of this building, that's for sure. Pero hindi ko alam yung best times na ma-accentuate yung curves niya and yung reflection na maganda yung labas ng what do you call this? Maganda yung tapo ng reflection. So I made a couple of visits. I made a visit in the morning, I made a visit in the afternoon, and then hindi ako nag-attempt sa gabi kasi alam kong I won't be able to shoot it well as a bad night photographer. So na-figure out ko na yung best time to shoot at this particular in this particular scenario was at around 11, surprisingly 11 to 1. Kasi, well, for one, medyo it worked in my favor kasi patay yung sky nung time na yon. So yung colors na nakikita mo dito is really, hindi siya nakahaluan ng warmth or anything. So, medyo true to like yung colors and yung colors ng puno. So, yun nga, there really is no shortcut. You need to, I mean, you can go to Google Street View. Pwede rin yun. Yes, I mean, the habit talaga of like, it's really time consuming, but as much as possible, if I have the luxury of time, I would visit the place multiple times in order for me to be able to ascertain when's the most flattering or the best time or the most dramatic time for it to shoot. Kasi minsan, for example, which building is this? For example, this particular building, I've shot this building to bits. Ang dami ko na picture nitong HKCC, and I'm sure all of you also. Paboritong angle niyo yung merong triangle, di ba? So, minsan kasi may hinahabol ako na parang, ano kaya itsura nitong building na to na may tao? Ano kaya itsura ng building na to pag umuulan? So, you also need to ask yourself kung, what do you call this, aside from just looking for that optimum time where the building is at its most photogenic, ano rin yung gusto mong kwento? So, added layer siya. So, ano yung gusto mong, what do you call this, aside from making the building look good, what else do you want to talk about the building? So, for this one, this set that I took, gusto ko naman pakita, i-showcase yung building as a backdrop for the Hong Kong community or how they use the building. So you'll notice na yung protagonists ko for this picture is not the architecture, but rather the people who are in this image that form like a triangle. Yeah.
Kumbaga sa, ano po, is keep on shooting na lang, kumbaga sa, para makita mo na lang kung ano yung best shot.
Yeah, medyo trial and error.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Alright, thank you so much again. Let's give a big hand to
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Patrick. And now let's have a Miss